Alright, so the story for Medal of Honor Warfighter follows 3 US Navy SEALs. You got Mother, you got Preacher, and you got Voodoo. And in the beginning of the game, they are sabotaging a black market arms deal for whatever reason. They plan a charge on a truck that they want to destroy that has all the arms dealing stuff in it. But when they blow it up, guess what? The whole truck blows up, and whatever's inside it blows up as well, and pretty much destroys the entire shipping dock that Mother, Preacher, and Voodoo are on. And of course they escape, and now they have to find out who has been buying all this stuff that blows up real good. Oh, and of course, save America. Hoorah! But to be honest, the story is completely generic. We've seen this so many times. You gotta find the person who's buying all the blowy up things so you can stop them from blowing up things that we like. It's pretty much the story. And they try to add a whole family dynamic to it with one character named Preacher. He has a whole family, he has a whole problem with his family, blah blah blah. It's stupid, and it's just there just to make you feel for the character, and you don't give a damn because you don't know what his problems are. They don't really talk about it that much, and yeah, it's not engaging at all. None of the characters are likable, none of the things that happen are engaging, none of the twists are good. It's just a standard military shooter, and they tried to give it a story, but they failed. So overall, I didn't care for the story. Let's go on to the sound. But now let's talk about the sound, which I like to start off with the voice acting. And the voice acting here is very solid, I have to admit. There's no one here that does an absolutely amazing, memorable job, but everybody does very well with the script they have, the very generic script that they have, and for the most part they make it feel pretty real, even if the script itself is very generic, like I said. So the voice acting here is very solid, and the soundtrack here actually doesn't annoy me like most military shooters. I mean, it's still very patriotic and very military-esque, but it's not annoying because it's mostly in the background. You don't overly hear it all the time. It does a decent job, so I like the soundtrack as well. But what makes the sound even better is the sound design, which here all the guns sound very realistic. Whenever you're shooting at walls or dirt or people, you actually feel that impact and you hear it too, and that's great. All the footstep noises, all the explosions, all the other stuff in the background really immerses you into the experience. So overall, I think the sound here is just absolutely fantastic. Now, the graphics for Medal of Honor Warfighter on the Xbox 360, when you upload that stupid 2 gig freaking texture pack thing, looks really damn good. The environments are very well modeled, and there's a lot of detail put into each one, and there's a lot of variety to them. Sometimes you'll be on a boat sniping at someone else on a boat, sometimes you'll be in a building while it's collapsing, or sometimes you'll be driving in the city of Dubai. The character models for the most part are great, even though there's a couple here and there, mostly in cutscenes, where you look at the head and for some reason the head looks really big and wide and just doesn't look right, but still all the details put in there, like the clothing and just the facial expressions and stuff, look pretty damn good. The action looks great, all the animations are great, all the little effects like the explosions and the little sand like flying up in the air whenever the wind passes by, looks really good. So overall, I think Medal of Honor Warfighter is a much better looking game than that last one. Oh my god, way better. So overall, even though the graphics might not be the best out there, I still think they're very well done. But now let us talk about the gameplay, which Medal of Honor Warfighter is a straight up military first person shooter, which is fine as long as the game itself has a satisfying multiplayer and campaign. Luckily, in my opinion, Warfighter has both, which is way more than I could say for that last game. Oh god, that game sucked. The campaign in this game is roughly 5 to 6 hours long, and while playing it you will shoot a lot of nameless brown people, drive cars, and chase down people on foot. The gunplay is very responsive and very smooth, and it really feels good just to shoot someone in the game. You get that feedback that I love in a shooter game. You get plenty of guns to use, and all of them feel really good to use, but the thing is, none of them are too original. You get pistols, machine guns, rocket launchers, and shotguns. All the stuff that you would expect from a military shooter. You do get some cool gadgets, and some of the guns do have different scopes, which is kind of cool. You can actually switch from long range scopes to short range, which I thought was kind of cool, but for the most part, it's all generic stuff. But one thing they did add that is new is a cover system, which in most first-person shooters don't work, but here it actually is very workable and pretty decent. You crouch under a low piece of cover, and you can either lean out to the left, to the right, or above, and it's a nice addition that really works during gunfights, and it gets really tense whenever you're under cover and then someone starts shooting your cover and it just starts to deteriorate and you're like, oh my god, I need to run to the next piece of cover. It's really tense, and it actually really works out for the gameplay. Like I said, you'll be driving stuff like cars and boats, and for the most part the controls for both of those actually work very well. It's it's surprising too, because I thought when I was about to get control of the car, I was going to be like, oh my god, I'm going to be slipping everywhere, I'm going to be screwing up. And no, the controls are actually really well done. It's all in first person view, and you get to see the window inside and all the dashboard stuff, and it really actually works out very well, and it actually adds to the immersiveness to the game. I don't know why, it just actually adds a lot to it, and it's a lot of fun whenever you get behind a car. Sure, maybe those missions go on a little bit too long, but for the most part I thought they were still pretty fun. So overall, I think the campaign, while short, like most military shooters, I think really works here. So for the most part, I like the campaign, but the thing I want to talk about now is the multiplayer. The multiplayer itself is pretty standard stuff. You got team deathmatch, you got objective, you got all those type of game modes. You get all the stuff like, you know, leveling up, you get more XP, so you can level up and unlock more stuff for your guns, and you get to pick a different class of character, which is always cool. And, you know, that's standard stuff for a multiplayer game. And the multiplayer here is a lot of fun. It was pretty easy for me to get into the game whenever I wanted to. It was a lot of fun, never had any problems with connections or anything, and you know, just shooting people, again, taking it to multiplayer is a lot of fun in this game. So yeah, I feel the multiplayer here is a lot of fun and way better than that last game. I just don't understand critics nowadays. Right now this game has like a 45, 46 Metacritic, which is horrible score for this game, and I don't understand why. The graphics are good, the gameplay is a lot of fun, sure it's generic, but the multiplayer is really good, and overall I just think this is a very solid game. I don't know why the critics are giving this horrible reviews, but I think it's actually a pretty decent military shooter, and this is coming from someone that did not like that last Medal of Honor, so I was not looking forward to this game at all. But overall, I think this is a lot of fun. Definitely go check it out. I would say rent it, seeing that, of course, Call of Duty is coming out, and that most likely will be better, but still, try this game out. It's a lot of fun campaign-wise and multiplayer-wise. So anyway, there you go. There's my review. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you, and goodbye.